All right, I'm recording.
Okay.
All right, so we're doing these interviews with our past graduates, and and you're one of the ones I'm super excited about. We tried to get recent graduates just to kind of get an idea of how hard it was to get a job, what the process was, what are some things that you wish you had known, maybe how you would handle senior project or your senior thesis, and you know any tips and tricks you can give them for finishing that on time and doing a good job and not getting overwhelmed.
Yeah. Um, well,
Senior thesis and give them a little. Do you
senior
remember?
thesis. Oh gosh, that feels like it's been so long ago, even though it was only like last year. But I don't know. I think the best advice I have about senior thesis is to start with a timeline in the very beginning and really make yourself stick to that, because that can, I feel like, make or break your confidence whenever it comes to the design in general, and then you just completely get off track. I don't know. I feel like timing is everything in your senior year.
Yeah, for sure. And having some reasonable expectations probably. And I feel like
Yeah.
you had reasonable expectations. I think you got to overdo on some things, but you probably had like a list of things that you would add to if you
Yeah. Yeah. Matt always said to have like a definites list and then a secondary list. So just start like small and have small goals throughout the whole thing. And then if you are able to reach your secondary list, then that's great. If not, oh well.
yeah, it's not critical to you succeeding, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So what do you wish you had known, or do you wish you would have started the job search earlier? I mean, would have been really hard to have done that, I think.
Yeah. As far as the job search, I feel like I've gotten really lucky with landing where I'm supposed to be at the right time. But yeah, I do. I think it's always good to start researching your, like, what you really want to do. I think it's good to know, and going into it, what kind of workplace environment you want to be in and what you think suits your personality.
But what if you've never worked in an office, or you've never had, all you've had is like retail, and you had retail too,
Yeah.
but so how would you tell somebody to figure out what they wanted to work, what kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you reach out to people. I mean, maybe you email people and find out and try to talk to people. I think your interviews was really cool in our senior
Oh
year.
yeah, where you guys
Yeah.
had to reach out and talk to 3 people in
Yeah.
the industry.
Yeah.
um
But yeah, I think starting earlier the better, in my opinion, to start like figuring out what you want to do, researching, like maybe do you want to move? Do you want to like look for what area of the country I want to be in, because that's huge, especially because there aren't as many jobs in Mobile. I mean, I
so
feel like that's,
oh, go ahead.
I just feel like that's a big part of your job search. Like, I think going out of your senior year, it's good to already know that stuff.
Right.
And portfolio, have that ready. I mean, okay, so whenever I got out of senior year, I was so burnt out that I didn't even want to look at my computer at all, much less my portfolio, anything to do with design. And I think it's okay to give yourself a break with that. I mean, it depends on your personality. I mean,
Your financial situation.
yeah, exactly. And a lot of other things too, but yeah.
So you moved to Pittsburgh. Kind of tell them a little bit about your story. So Stephen had a job, and
Yes.
when did y'all move?
So I'm married to Stephen. He got a job here. Well, it started whenever we got this wild hair and decided, what if we just moved? Like, we're never gonna do it if we don't do it now. I feel like in class you would always ask people who would want to move and who doesn't, and other people would raise their hands. Everybody wanted to get out of Mobile, and I was the only one that didn't. And it's just kind of weird how it worked out that I was the one that ended up moving. And I'm so glad I did. He just applied everywhere. We ended up landing in Pittsburgh. And then I was with Dustin at Retro Supply for a while, which was the perfect transition from moving from one city to the next, because I could just work from home and do everything at my own pace. And
Dustin loved you, so
I loved him, and it was perfect for me. But I think I got really discouraged really quickly whenever I did start feeling like I needed to look for a job. I applied for probably like 40 places and then heard back from nothing at all. And I was just starting to get really down. And I think working from home really affected me too. It didn't give me a reason to wake up I did. I had to work for Dustin, and I tried to start at a certain time, but still I was just in my pajamas. I didn't really have to get ready, and it was just like I needed to do something else. And
you knew you needed people, and
yes.
you needed people, somebody to keep you accountable, to get up, and you needed to go and feel like you were making a difference with someone.
Exactly. I needed human interaction and to talk to people other than my dogs. So whenever I started applying everywhere and didn't hear anything for a while, it really started to take a toll on me. But I think it's so important that you don't let that happen, because it's not as easy as just applying and getting some interviews. It doesn't always happen that quickly.
So did you, when you were applying, did you follow up? Like you would see a job listing, you would send your stuff, a resume and a cover letter, and then would you follow it up with a phone call? What would you do?
Well, I went through Indeed and several other job sites, like everywhere I could think of, to find design job listings. But I also knew that a lot of good design jobs won't have postings. So I applied at some places that I saw postings for, and a lot that didn't have postings. And I would send resume, cover letter, and everything. And then sometimes I would follow up with an email, or making sure like I followed them on social media and just knew everything, like did a lot of research about all these different companies in case I did get a phone call, and knew that I actually wanted to work there in the first place. But I never really called.
So I think that
great.
Yeah, but when you're already down, it's just like, hey, would you mind letting me see or could I come in and take 15 minutes of your time and you could look at my portfolio and give me some feedback?
Mm-hmm.
I know I've said that, but really that's how people get in.
Mm-hmm.
Just if even your position you have now,
Mm-hmm.
the reason you got that was because you met somebody. Because of our industry is so tight, we're going to be working with someone. It's not like they're just going to be in a cubicle and we're never going to talk to them. We want to make sure that you're cool and we're going to get along.
Yep.
And so
I agree. And if I was like at the place where I was about to start, and that's like I get so anxious for things, and that's something that I've gotten a lot better at, but I also have a lot of work to do on it. And I think that was really tough for me to just put myself out there and like call people and go there like I know I should have probably started to do. And about that time, whenever I felt like, okay, I've got to take the next step and start being proactive with this, I did meet someone. And it's so funny, you always say that it's very incestuous, and it is. At our company, like 90% of the people came from the same college. Like everyone knew each other before. And so that made it even harder to come into that. But I got lucky meeting people. And I think that
but it's because you have a great personality, and then people are like, oh my goodness, and your stuff looks awesome. So it's like it's a double win. And I feel like you especially discounted how awesome your personality was. And if you just got in the door, then people see, oh man, you would really get along with my friend Jimmy. And hiring, but it's not a listed position.
Yep. And I think Creative South is really cool for that too, even though I've never been. Shame on me. But stuff like that is perfect for somebody who's looking for a job.
Yeah. And maybe sometime you'll be able to come. At least you've gotten to meet Dustin since, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I did meet Dustin. But yeah, I would like to come.
Yeah, we can get you a volunteer ticket,
I might do that next year.
Okay. Um, so those would be things that you would maybe change about what you had done in the past. Did
Yeah.
you send any like self-promotion pieces?
No. No, I'm not a good
Because
example, but no, I didn't. Because well, honestly, whenever I got out of school, I was in no rush, like right out the gate. Like I didn't know this is kind of false. I was in a rush, but I also was kind of in a weird position because uh, I was just I didn't want to think about it. Like I feel like I was burnt out at the very end, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna take a step back and just give myself a minute before I start frantically applying for jobs.
mm-hmm.
And then once I had a minute to breathe, I feel like it wasn't soon. It was soon after that I started working with Dustin, and then right after that, I just feel like everything was bang bang bang. And we just decided to move, and I was just trying to like figure out how to get to the grocery store here, and then I started really trying to put in time to like perfect my portfolio a little bit and tweak everything like I wanted it to be. And now I forgot what I was talking about.
So, but moving to a new city, you said you
Yeah.
just wanted to give yourself a minute before you jumped in and started looking for jobs because you were so burned out. So is there any tips you would give somebody about not getting so burned out?
I think like staying on a schedule that you set for yourself is a lot of help, because whenever you're staying up until 3 o'clock in the morning every night just trying to cram to get stuff done, that really starts to run down your battery. So I think that's huge. But other than that, just pick a project that really think through the project that you pick for your senior thesis, because it's going to be what you spend so much of your time on in your last year. And just make sure it's something that you're going to get to show what you can do throughout and feel good about it, and not feel like, oh man, why did I do this like halfway through?
Right. So, all right. So another question is, how did you find your job? I remember how you met that girl, but how, just to let them know.
Well, whenever we moved here, we obviously knew no one. So we started just going to everything that we could to meet people. Like our apartment complex was really awesome because they would always have like little parties at the office down in the little meeting area. And so we would always go to those and just try to talk to people. We'd be like, who do you think we could talk to today? Trying to meet people. And so we met the girl's boyfriend at the dog park before that. So when we saw him there, we were like, oh, hey, we know you. Do you remember us? He introduced us to his girlfriend. And it was crazy because we hit it off, but we weren't very good friends before she said, oh, well, you're a designer. You should apply for American Eagle. And it's so funny because I had just done that like the week before. I said, I just did. She's like, oh, well, send me all your stuff. I'll forward it on. So I like went home, got everything ready. Like that night I was ready, and sent everything to her. And within the next week I had an interview and got a call like two days later. It was very fast. And
but it was because somebody pushed your thing through, because somebody met you and knew you weren't a creep, and you actually had good work. Really, people
face-to-face contact.
Yeah, people discount how much a personality really comes into play. And you are more quiet. I mean, I don't think of you as quiet, but I think because you're comfortable, right? But I feel like, but you did have to kind of come out of your shell to do that, right?
Oh yeah. Since moving here, I mean, now I have to just be ready to talk to everybody, because if not, I'm not going to know anyone. And I mean, that's not cool. So it's really gotten me out of my comfort zone, I think. Really got me out of my shell.
That's good.
Yeah.
Right. So, moving to a new city can be scary. It is nice to have one person that you know, either a roommate or a husband, right? I moved to Denver with my best friend, and so it was really easy. It made it a lot easier.
I couldn't imagine doing this just by myself, but people do it all the time, and I think that's super cool.
Very courageous,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, very brave.
Because it can. For the first year, even though I had Tara, it was very lonely because I didn't have people that knew me. And it was all these new kind of relationships starting over. So if you've ever had to go to a new school, if you've never had to go to a new school, then you have no idea, and it's going to be a little scary. So definitely move with someone.
Yeah.
But then you can kind of go to these things, like you go to church or the dog park, or because you would try churches, you know, you would try to see what you were doing. And if church isn't somebody's thing, then they could go to, you know, other kind of meetups that are happening.
Yep. I think there's even an app for that now. Just like different things that you're interested in, meetups, which I don't know if that's always safe or not, but yeah, like, yeah, definitely find something that you like. And even just I just feel like every time we would go out in public, we would just try to talk to people. And I think people here aren't as much into that as they are in the South, but I mean,
Right.
that?
Yeah, but it's just about finding people who are like you,
Yep.
who maybe have moved. And so for me, moving to Denver, there were a lot of people who were my age that weren't from Denver. So it was very easy to meet. And then once you get a job, you get kind of ingrained, like you with those girls that you work with. It's really nice mesh, it looks like, from the photos, right? So, all right. So those are some great, good tips, I think, that help people. Is there anything else that you'd have done just being in Pittsburgh? I mean, it's not like you just go home and you stay in your apartment. Like, what else do y'all do that helps you get out and do other things? Like, what else have you done? What kind of exploring of the city have you done?
Of the city?
Or exploring to meet new people?
Well, I think every weekend we're just trying to find new things. I mean, we never go, this is not as much about people, but like just in general, we never go to chain restaurants. We just always like try to find like local places and things like that. I mean, there's so many things around here to do that we have a list a mile long, and we like to travel a lot. So we try to go on weekend trips and things like that. And when we go places, we always like to try to talk to people in line and stuff like that. And you never know the connections that could come from that. My friend that got me the job in American Eagle, she got her job because she met one of the executives of American Eagle on a plane one day. And they hit it off, and he said, "Hey, if you ever want a job, call me." And like 6 months later, she did, and that's how she got her job. So you just never know. I mean, I think it's always good to be friendly to people in general, obviously, but you just never know who you're talking to. Like one day I but saw this girl in the bathroom, and about 20
Under the stall? No.
yeah, creeping over the stall. But like 30 minutes later, she was on interviewing me. So like, what if I didn't smile at her? What if like little things like that could have played a part into what happened? You know,
Yeah, absolutely. Those are good. Those are good things. So you don't ever know where you're going to meet somebody or who you're going to run into. So I always think it's good to be nice and to give a good impression. But for somebody where it's really, for me, this is a natural way of interacting, like just talking to strangers. But for you, it might not have been that way. So one of the things I always tell people is that they don't know you're not outgoing.
yeah.
Like, they don't know. Nobody knows that. Nobody
Fake it
knows
till you make it. That's my favorite saying, because it's so true. Fake it till you make it. If you feel like you need to do this, but you don't feel like that's comfortable, just do it. I mean, no one else knows it's not comfortable. You know, you got it. Just do it. I don't know. I think that's great.
So how's work life? Like, how is, it seems like you're really busy. You don't have a lot of time. You work through lunch a lot. Can you kind of give them an idea of what work is like? And do you like being a designer?
Yeah, well, I do. I love my job. And it's so weird because moving here, I told Steven moving here, when we decided to move here, we were hoping to move overseas eventually. and just be able to travel. And I told Steven, I don't want to be here longer than a year. And then it was, I don't want to be here longer than 2 years. And now it's like, oh God, how could I ever leave? I mean, I'm not saying I won't ever, but it's just, I really do love my job. And I got really lucky with that. But yeah, I mean, I am really busy. There's slow times and busy times, but everybody pretty much kind of eats at their desk, and we're all close. So we like talk. It's not like we never get a break. I mean, if we, it's a pretty laid back environment. And just, if you're curious about the way that the office is set up, it's like tables that are lined up in a row. It's not really like cubicles, but you have your own table. And then like 6 feet down, there's like another computer and a desk. And it's like all really open, which I like. I don't think I would like cubicles as much, but
So what kind of stuff are you working on? And when you took the job, it was like, you called me and you were like, does this sound good? Like, it was not, and I feel like this is something people forget or people don't realize, oh, it's going to be on contract basis for a while.
Yes.
Because they're trying to see if they like you and if you're going to fit into their culture.
Yeah. So I am a freelance designer. So I am just, it's a contract basis. And basically, I didn't realize this in the beginning. I was like worried about it at first, thinking, crap, I'm only going to be here for a couple months. But I realized that everybody starts out like that pretty much. And there's also a lot of people that stay freelancers just because they want to. They'd rather work hourly and be able to make overtime and things like that. But there's actually a ton of freelancers that work there, possibly more than actual employees, like in the design team, at least in our design team. But
and that's really good if you have somebody who's providing for your health insurance. Like you get health insurance through Steven. Otherwise, you have to kind of find, if you're a freelancer, then you would have to pay for your insurance and your hourly rate might have to be more because you're having to cover this. Do you bring your computer and work on your computer, or do they have computers for you? Okay.
No, they have the computers, everything we would need.
And you're on a Mac?
Yes. It's a like a PC monitor or whatever, but it's like a Mac. But what else? Yeah, so I'm a web designer for Aerie, the Aerie company within American Eagle, and I do digital design. So like all different pieces of the website I do. A lot of it is design. There are pieces of it that are just like put these photos into a template kind of thing.
How much coding are you doing? Is it all kind of no coding?
Any coding, which is what I was worried about at first. I was like, web designer, I just wanted to do print, but actually I really like it. And I'm glad that I'm doing the web part because it has nothing to do with coding. It's just all digital stuff. And we designed the website.
Do you have to only wear American Eagle clothes?
No. But there are you probably shouldn't wear like a big Victoria's Secret pink shirt or something like that,
Right. But it's
we wear whatever we want. Yeah. So
how long was that initial contract for? Was it for 6 months?
It was, I think, for 4 months.
4 months.
4 or 5 months. But I've learned that they just keep renewing the contract. I mean, it's not like I have to worry about at the next time my contract ends, like, are they going to fire me? I mean, I guess it could happen, but it's just pretty much until they can create a spot for me to give me benefits and all that. It's not really like a worrisome thing.
So then what about, I was trying to think about some of the questions you asked me in the beginning. Oh, I remember you were like, they offered me this, but I have these 2 things I'm going out of town, right?
Yeah.
I had already planned. So a lot of times people have this. So say you got a job in October and you're planning on going somewhere in November or December, or you get a job at the beginning of December and then you're going out of town. You have a trip to the Netherlands in December. So how did you deal with that? And I think this is a good question to kind of answer.
Yeah. I mean, I was really worried about that mainly because it was 2 back-to-back, like a month apart. I felt really bad going into it with that, but yeah, I don't think it was a big deal. And I don't think people should worry about that. I mean, it's something that happens whenever you have a life and
And you just have to be upfront.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
I would tell them in the interview, maybe at the end of the interview or whatever, that just to go ahead and let them know. But yeah, I mean, it should never be a problem because it's not like you had that job before. Hang on.
Right.
Okay. Sorry, a little pop-up thing came up. But I ended up only going on one of them because the other one wasn't really important, and I felt like it was better use of my time to, I mean, I was a
Work.
trainer there, and
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to be there. But the other one I did go on, and it was fine. And I just let her know in the interview that I had a trip planned, and yeah, she said that would be fine.
So
To be honest, it was in the beginning, and I wasn't that helpful at the time anyways, because I was still learning everything, so it was no big deal.
So what about the training process when you get a new job? What is that training process like? How long did that last? How long till you felt like you knew what you were doing?
Oh God, it was kind of rough for me, to be honest, in the beginning because I didn't have a lot of training. I mean, I didn't need training to do what I had to do, but I just needed to learn their specifications and the way that they do things and all
Right.
that. And I never really had any, like my boss didn't sit down with me and teach me those things. It was kind of like I had to pick up on it. Well, I mean, she would teach me some things, but it wasn't like training every day. I mean, I just sat at my desk, she'd give me something to do, and if I had a question, I'd ask her. So, I don't know. I think it was a little while before I really felt like I didn't really have to ask her any more questions and stuff like that. I mean, probably like 6 months or at least 4, 5, 6 months until she could just leave and I'm like totally good. Now, I mean, she'll go on week-long vacations and I'm fine, but took a while and it was kind of nerve-wracking. And I felt like bad always asking questions, but I mean, it's just part of it. You have to.
Yeah, I mean, some things you can learn on your own and you can figure out by analyzing what the old stuff was
Yep.
or what the
I did a
current
lot
print
of that.
stuff is. But some of it, if you've already Googled it and you still don't know how to do it, it's better just to ask because it's going to save time and they don't want to pay you a ton just to try to
Exactly.
go in
But
circles.
I do think I did a lot of looking back at their old stuff and figuring out. Titus, it's okay. My dog is having a dream.
I heard him. It didn't sound like a regular bark.
Yeah, but yeah, I did a lot of like trying to figure stuff out by myself, and then I would ask her and be like, "Oh man, I should have known that." But yeah.
But they also know that you're pretty fresh out of school and I mean, did you feel like that with Dustin too, that if you didn't know something, you were apprehensive to ask him?
With Dustin, a lot of the stuff I could Google because it wasn't super specific to the company. It was just kind of a general question usually. But yeah, I always felt like I could ask Dustin questions too. But yeah, I definitely think it's better to ask than just sit there and try to dig for it for an hour and figure it out. Because I mean, yeah, exactly. They know that you're out of school, and a lot of it, like I said, was not really technical questions. It was about the company, and if I couldn't find it on the server, then I mean, I have to ask.
Right. So some people, when they get out, they kind of think it's going to be similar to maybe school where you have these certain projects and then you're finished with it and you can relax. But it's never a finish, right? It's just, it's more stressed and then less stressed.
Yeah.
It just means more projects are at the same time.
Exactly.
And you have to make quick decisions quicker than maybe what you did when you were in school. And I feel like it's like student workers always feel like they're like on Facebook or they're piddling around watching YouTube. Like, you're not watching YouTube at work unless you're trying to figure out how to do something.
Yeah.
And you watch YouTube to figure out how to do it. Right?
Yep, exactly. So with what I do a lot of every time a season comes up, a new season, we have like, I don't know how many seasons, but every time a new one comes up, it's like cram, cram, cram. There's a lot of work. And then there's like a slower period where right after you handed a lot of things off to the developers, you just kind of are able to breathe for a second. And sometimes you're not. Sometimes the next season's coming up too quick and you're just like cramming everything again. But yeah, I think that you have to make quicker decisions, like you said, for sure.
Well, and it's about confidence. You get confidence. So the other people that are designers, how many designers are there? And then how long out of school have they been?
There are about 7 other designers on the Aerie team, and
Wow.
half of them are print, half of them are web, and there's probably a couple of them that have been out of school for a little while. The one that's probably been out of school the longest is only like 10 years. She's probably in her like late 20s, and then it's like a very young team actually, and there's several people who have only been out of school for a couple years. One girl just graduated this year. So, and then on the AE team, we have 2 separate sides. On the floor, it's like separated, and the AE designers, they're also a young team. They have some older people too. And then, of course, we have creative directors and art directors that are older, like 30s. And there's a lady above us that's 40. I mean, I feel
She's
like
in a
in general,
wheelchair and stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
So how do you work with so is your boss the art director or the creative director?
My boss is the art director. She actually just got promoted from like senior designer to art director, and she sits right beside me, and I'm able to just like ask her questions as I go if I need to or whatever, have her approve different things. And then we all report to the creative director, and she approves things that are a little bit bigger of a deal. I mean, all the websites, the website we design, she sees all of those things, and other things too. Like email and website is the 2 main design formats that we have to work on. And my boss and I are the ones who design the website most. Yeah. And then there's 2 other people who design emails that go out every day. And then there's another girl who works on a lot of international stuff, which is what I used to do. And then she started and kind of took that stuff over. So all the things that go through Aerie that send out to international people. And then there's the whole print team separate from us, which are 3 people. And they do all the designs for stores and windows and anything that you would get in your home, like mail.
Mm-hmm.
And then our creative director goes on all the shoots, the photo shoots. She is the one who.
Does she choose the photographer? Do you have a different photographer every time?
No, I think we reuse the same girl a lot, but I'm not totally sure. I don't really, I don't go.
But they go to the photo shoot and then they give you stuff to use, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the creative director and all of us as a team really, but not so much me. I mean, I'm still really new, but a lot of the people, and especially the creative director, they'll get together and think up just ideas for the next season. I'm not really a part of that process. I mean, that's kind of like people who have been there longer and the higher up people who really design the concepts for each season, and they'll do it really far in advance. But and then she also goes on all the shoots. She just makes sure that everything is like fitting within the concept that they planned for. And she chooses the models every season. And then there's a girl who sits over there with us that does the looks for the models for each season. And she I don't know.
Is she a freelancer?
No, she is an actual employee. But yeah, and then everything, most things that we do go through her, the creative director. And then above her is, I'm actually not sure of her actual title, but she does more of the business side. And she'll look at creative too, but more through the business lens.
For the marketing kind of
Yeah.
knowing what your numbers are and where people are. So a lot of what you're doing is probably production. You're getting to design, but there's kind of this template that other people have already kind of, or with like a theme, you're not getting to come up with a theme, but that would be something in the future that would be interesting that hopefully you would work your way up. How the senior designer that just was this, from senior designer to art director, how long did it take? How long had she worked for the company before she went to that role?
She's worked, I know it's somewhere in between 5 to 10 years is how long she's been there. So I would assume somewhere in the middle of that.
Did she start as a freelancer?
Yes. I think actually everyone has started as a freelancer. Some of them started as an intern, moved to a freelancer, and then now are employed, full time. And I'm not actually sure the creative director. I don't know how long it took her to become the creative director, but I've always been curious, so maybe I should ask soon.
Yeah.
But that's definitely kind of the ultimate goal.
She
does really cool stuff, but she's also very busy. I mean, she's constantly traveling and doing.
Well, it may be worth just, hey, I'd love to get to know you better, and can you answer a couple questions, or I'd love to take you to lunch sometime just to be able, just to kind of say, hey, I really think what you're doing looks neat. How long did it take you to get there? And just kind of get her story, and then it helps you to plan for your next goals.
I actually heard that she started as a temp for someone who was like pregnant or something, I think. And so she wasn't even supposed to stay there. And now she's a creative director. So it's like gives me hope. Yeah. Her job is really cool. She actually just got back from Cuba. She's just always going places with the company. I think her job would be awesome.
Yeah. It sounds really good. Well, Katie, any other tips since we don't have anybody live? I don't know if there's anything else that they would want to know, but was there any, like, I feel like you're just like swimming and you're like, I'm going to reach the buoy. And then, and that's what it feels like every semester. And I feel like do you feel like we prepared you for the workload, or do you feel like?
I do actually. The workload isn't so much that I feel like I can't handle it. I mean, it's, to be honest, it's usually less stressful than juggling 5 classes.
Right.
So
that's how I felt too when I graduated.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, now I can actually, because you're focused all your time on one thing. So you can do better because you're focused, right? Instead of spread out.
Exactly. I just think like finding what you really like to do. I mean, that sounds so simple, but just what makes you happy in this moment. And I think always learning new things is just so beneficial to you and your career, but just like at least for me, like my mental health. I mean, I just always like to continue learning new things. It just helps you not to get into a rut.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when you graduate from design school, there are a lot of paths you could take. I just think that don't get so stuck on, I have to do it this way. I have to have this kind of job. Just really do your research and just think like, what specific thing do I like? Like, for me at least, I really like lettering. And if I ever got into a rut where I was just so unhappy being in a corporate job, I mean, practice lettering and try to start your own thing with that. Just doesn't have to be, the mold.
Right.
Whatever you're picturing you can change your mind,
And moving to a new city is something you would recommend people, correct?
Yeah. I think it's so funny that I'm saying this now because I was never the one who wanted to do that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's great to do, get you out of your comfort zone, makes you more outgoing. I mean, I feel like you have to get more outgoing when you don't know anyone, and learned a lot.
You're a stronger person.
Exactly. And I feel like I've learned so much just as a person from a year ago.
Yeah, for sure. So, why did you not want to move away? Because I think you're going to be speaking to some people, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my whole family's there. It was a comfort zone thing. I had just gotten married, and Stephen had a pretty good job there. Everything was fine. We just bought a house. So that just shows you how committed I was to staying there. I never thought I was going to just up and leave, but travel was really important to me, and I think that I always just thought, oh, well, I'll just, travel and see places that way, but it never really occurred to me that moving somewhere would just be a whole different kind of travel and way to immerse yourself in different kind of cultures and learn new things. And yeah, it definitely tests your, makes you emotionally strong. But I didn't want to move because it was my comfort zone, and I'm really glad that I pushed through that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. It's scary. But the job market is really, really, I mean, there aren't 40 places to apply here, you know?
I know.
And so that you had 40 places to apply, more than 40 in Pittsburgh. I mean, bigger cities are going to be better, right?
Yeah.
And there's the type of design that you would want to do instead of like working at Staples.
Right. Exactly.
Which is not what I would recommend people to do.
Yeah. I know.
It's okay when you're in school, I guess, but not when you get out. That's not what you want, right?
Right.
Well,
yeah, I have more options here. I feel like if I still lived in Mobile, I would just be sitting at home every day trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I was always so determined, like, I'll get the job I want in Mobile. Like I want to work for these people because that's one of the 3 people I have to choose from. I'm going to do it, even though there's 75 other people who want that job too. But, and it's definitely like possible to make a good career in Mobile, but I definitely think there's so many more opportunities out there, and just think of all the benefits, make a pros and cons list. Think of all the benefits you could get from moving away. I mean, it's scary, but I just love now thinking that I have like friends not all over the world, but in a lot of the areas of Northeast. And I know so many more people. I know a lot more about the world in general, even though it's not that in comparison to the whole world, not that far out. But I mean, I just think I've learned a lot, and it's not something I would ever regret.
Right. So, all right. So moving was good. I think a lot of people might be scared to move up north because of the winters.
Yeah. It's snowing outside right now.
So, how are people nice, even though like you're from Alabama? Like they can tell you're from somewhere else, right? Because you don't sound like them.
Yeah.
And so do you get that a lot? Like, where are you from?
I thought I would more, to be honest. There's some people who within a couple seconds of talking to me say, "Girl, where are you from?" And then there's some people who never mention it, and I'm just like, I feel like it's a good conversation starter, to say the least. And sometimes I'm like, why aren't they asking me? Do they not want to be my friend? Because obviously I'm not from here, and it's easy conversation starter. But yeah, people are really nice here, and my phone is about to die.
Okay.
Give me just a second. Sorry, I made sure it was fully charged before, but went through quickly. But anyways, what was I saying?
We were talking about meeting people, and you're being from the South, and you thought, oh, this is a good conversation starter, and then they don't. But then you were going to start something else, and I can't remember.
Some of my family have lived up north, and other people too that I've met, but they they always warn me, people aren't as nice up there. You know, people aren't just going to talk to you and think it's normal to talk to strangers and everything, but not here. I mean, I don't know about New York or other bigger cities or up further north like New England, but I mean, people have always been really nice. And I do know people from New York and from New England, and they do talk about having a little bit different of a culture. You know, people, when you walk into a convenience store, they don't want to hear, can I help you? But they're just like, I want to do my own thing. Don't question me. Like, yes, I'm fine. You know, I don't know. But yeah, everybody's really nice.
We're good. I'm super proud of you, and I'm really, I can't wait to hear about how you continue to grow and do bigger, better things. Are you coming home for Christmas?
No, I'm not.
You came home recently, right?
Yeah, we came home in September, so we're just gonna give it like a little while. Flights are expensive, so you know.
Yeah. Well, it'll be nice. This will be a Christmas that you guys have together with the dogs, and
yeah. Last year we didn't get a white Christmas. Well, we came home last Christmas, but we're hoping for a white Christmas this year. We want it to be cold.
It's not as bad as what people think. I grew up in Atlanta and then moved to Denver. It was, I think, colder in Atlanta than it was in Denver, even though it was, and it's colder in Pittsburgh than it would be in Denver. But I mean, the snow melts. It's not like it's forever.
Yeah, I know. We love it. I mean, until we have to drive in it, but that's another story.
Well, I'm glad I got to see you last October.
I know.
It was nice to be able to come and visit whenever that conference comes up to Pittsburgh again. I'll make sure I call you up. But
yeah, definitely. Anybody who comes here, we can meet for lunch.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Katie, thank you so much for taking the time today, and I really appreciate it. And I know they will too. So they may have a couple of questions or something. Is there a good way for people to reach you? Or are you still on Instagram? What's your handle?
Yep. Instagram, Katie Bertagnolli, Bertagnolli. And Instagram, Facebook. You can text me. I don't care. Email. Ask me questions. I don't have a lot of experience or advice to give, but yeah, I definitely like to talk to people who I know I've been there.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you just need a cheerleader in your corner saying, hey, I did it. It was really uncomfortable for me, but if I can do it, you can do it.
Yes, definitely.
Well, hopefully I'll see you soon, and hopefully you'll make it to Creative South. April 5th, 6th, and 7th.
5th, 6th, and 7th. Okay.
I think the 5th is like that Thursday, and then the 6th and 7th is that Friday, Saturday.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah, do.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Katie.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.